in sales and employment. This is from the academic research. But from my experience, not many companies really enjoy the benefits. For them, ISO 9000, it may be just a piece of certificate to show the customer or to enter to tender for certain project. It's something add on to their current business or something required by their customer, something required by the government for them to tender the big project. Then they don't enjoy any benefits as found out by the academicians that they should enjoy if they implement the quality management system. So there is a gap between what the academic findings and the actual experience for a lot of companies that implementing a management system. There's a gap in between them. For example, some company, they have a good, very lean management system, but because the management system is too lean and too simple, they may have a very high and unacceptable risk to the business. But on the other hand, some companies develop a very robust management system, but it becomes a burdensome to a lot of people. That means the management system is not user-friendly. Instead of the system working for the company, instead of system working for the employee, now the employee have to work for the system. They create a lot of procedure, create a lot of documentation, records, but there is no value add to the business at all. So sometimes the management system is over control instead of under control. They over control. A simple process, you may need to have a multiple signatures, you may need to have a multiple approval from the managers. So in this case, the whole system becomes too heavy and burdensome for them to maintain. So I think that the organization need an approach to have a system that have an acceptable risk, but at the same time with the minimum waste. Waste means the non-value add activities. Non-value add activities. They should have a way for them to come up with a system that deliver result. At the same time, it's not burdensome to the company. So I strongly believe that the senior management team of the company should have to change the culture and change how they see a good management system in the company. So in general, we can divide the organization into 4 different categories. Right? If a y-axis is compliant, that means comply to the ISO requirement, comply to the customer requirement, contractual requirement, legal requirements. On the x-axis is performance, deliver tangible results, grow in sales, right? And then have a high productivities. You have a strong commitment and engagement for the employee. So for those organizations it can deliver result at the same time meet all the requirements, you are in the operational excellent quadrant. You're in this quadrant. Deliver the result, show the result to the boss, at the same time you meet all the requirements. For those not able to show the result and then not able to comply the requirement, sooner or later they will out of business. But from my experience, most of the companies fall into these 2 quadrants. Either very good business result, but not sustainable because they don't have a strong management system to sustain the business. They can produce a result, maybe they have a strong charismatic leaders. Maybe the founder of the business is a managing director of the company. So he drives the whole business, produce, deliver the results. But it's not sustainable. What happened? Those key people leave the company. Once you don't have a strong management system to manage the business cannot go far. On the other hand, some companies fall into this quadrant, have a very complicated system, a lot of documentations, a lot of documented procedures, a lot of forms to fill in, a lot of signatory, a lot of the meetings, but they cannot produce the business results. There is no growth in the sales, there is no reductions in the defective product, there is no improvement in the productivity. So the whole management system become a burden to everyone, burden to the quality managers, burden to every employee, is a burden even to the company. Because you have a lot of documentations, but we cannot translate the documentation into the tangible results and tangible benefits to the organizations. So what we want to achieve is to move the organization either from this quadrant, burdensome, to operational excellence, or from an unsustainable quadrant to the operational excellent quadrant. If you can move those companies from our business quadrant to the business operational excellent quadrant. How to do that? My recommendation is try to integrate Lean into your management system. As you know, these two are the Lean Guru, the Toyota production system, Taiji Ono and Singo. So they all come up with the idea of the lean manufacturing. But in fact, now Lean, the whole Lean principle and Lean thinking is not only used in manufacturing. They are used in the project management, they use in the constructions, they have the Lean construction and the Lean project management, and then you have the Lean service as well. So Lean is not just about less. A lot of things like, oh, Lean means getting rid of the headcount, reduce the resources, right? We hire less people. No, Lean is about efficiency. We're not to seek to do well with fewer resources. We talk about efficiency. We try to seek to achieve excellence by focusing the resources that we have. We may have a very limited resources, but we focus these resources on highly effective activities. So throughout the whole process, we try to eliminate the activity that do not add value. Anything that we do which is not add value, consider waste. Consider waste. So how to integrate Lean into the management system? So many organizations, we come up with a lot of improvement initiative, improvement program, training, consultancy, big project. We go through a lot of motion without asking whether they add value to the business or not. If you want to introduce certain new program, because it's recommended by a consultant, recommended by your corporate office somewhere in the Europe or in the US, but do they really add value to your business? So apply Lean in the management system is a systematic approach for you to identify and eliminate waste in your management system processes. Through applying Lean, it's easy for us to get the buy-in from top management. Because many top management team complain that I invested so much money in the management system. I've invested so much money on training and consultancy. I invested so much money on certification audit. Can you show me the result? Can you show me the dollar and cents? Can you show me that this management system really can deliver the result that I want? Can you help me to achieve my business objective? So if now you tell your boss, you tell your management team that now, what happened if we implement Lean? We integrate into the system. We get rid of all non-value add activity. We focus our resources on efficiencies. It will be easy for you to get the buy-in from the senior management team. In fact, applying Lean in the management system, you can enjoy a lot of benefit. For example, cultural change, minimize the risk, less wait time, reduce floor spaces, reduce inventory, increase productivity. These are all the benefits. You can just Google online. A lot of journals are talking about the benefits of implementing Lean and integrating Lean into the management system. Some of the principal practices I can highlight to you now as I give you an overall view how to integrate the management system how to integrate the Lean into the management system. Taiji Ono say, having no problem is the biggest problem of all. If now you are enjoying going to work every day, or now you work from home, and know as me, I work from home, and then you see no problem, that is the biggest problem of all. That means you already accept the norm. You already accept that every day there's a lot of rejections. Every day there's a lot of customer complaint. Every day there's a lot of machine breakdown. That is a norm. No problem. You can't see any problem. According to Taiji Ono, having no problem. If you can't see any problem at the company, at the factory, that is the biggest problem of all. So it's good if you can see the problem. That means it still has an opportunity for the improvement. These are the 5 basic principles of Lean. Right? From the Lean books, you can see that. These are the 5 basic principles of Lean. In fact, it's all very similar or aligned or consistent with the ISO 9001 quality management system. The first Lean principle is you have to specify the values of the product and services. So if you are the quality manager, if you are the one who designed the management system, you are the management representative, you are the owner of your ISO 9001 or ISO 14000 management system, you need to know what is the value this management system can in fact deliver to your customer. You need to know who is your customer. Who is your customer? You need to design a system like a product that you want to sell to the customer. Are your customer willing to pay for this management system? So ask yourself, you as a quality manager, you as a safety and health managers, you are the one in charge for the environmental management system. Who are your customers? Many people say that, oh, all the employees are my customers. Now you should ask the next questions. Are your employees in the company willing to pay if you tell them that if you want to use my management system, you have to pay for that? Customer only pay for those things that they value. If they don't see value, they don't want to pay. So if your customer, that means your employees, the line managers, the department managers, not willing to pay your management system, that means for them, your management system doesn't add value to them, doesn't add value to their system, doesn't add value to their business. So we need to identify what are the values that we want our management system to deliver to the company and to our employee and the line managers. Are they willing to pay for that? If they are not willing to pay for that, that means our management system doesn't add value to your day-to-day business operations. After we specify the value of the product and services, the second principle we apply in the management system is the value stream. We need to make sure that the processes, the procedure in the management system is a smooth flow without disruptions. It's just like water flow in a river. That means the process is very smooth without a lot of checkpoint, a lot of diamond shape in your flow chart, a lot of signatory, a lot of documentation, procedures, checklists that doesn't add values to the whole process control measure. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that diamond shape or record or checklist is wrong. I'm saying that sometimes we over control our process. We impose a lot of additional checking, self-check, third-party check, final check, a lot of checklist forms, which is not add values to the business. It's consume a lot of resources, consume a lot of time, but at the same time, it doesn't add values to the business process control. The process flow, the value stream is not smooth. You need a lot of stop and start, because waiting for approval, waiting for the document to be checked, waiting for the management to approve. This is not a smooth value flow. So we need to specify the values, our system, to our customer, that means our employee, and then we need to design a system that have a smooth flow with the minimum disruptions. And then we need to get rid of all the waste, all the non-value add activities. Mura is a Japanese word. Any activity that is wasteful, doesn't add value, is mura. I mean, it's waste. Often we have a lot of process and activity that take up time, but not add values to the organizations. You check on the procedure, how you conduct internal audit, how you conduct management review, how you conduct incoming inspection, in-process inspection, outgoing inspections. How do you plan for the maintenance? Sometimes we have a lot of activities or processes or documentation that take a lot of our employees' time, but not really add values to the organizations. We can implement all the procedures, but the rejection rate is still very high. We can implement a lot of a checkpoint, documentation and checklists, but customer complaints still very high. That means this is a non-value-add activity. It's a waste. It's a waste to the business. So we need to remove all the waste from our process flow. For example, people walking around, motion. You move, you add value, you call work. You move around but not adding value is called motion. People moving around in the shop floor but not add value. This is a waste. Waiting time. Waiting for spare part. Waiting for the machine to be repaired. Waiting for the approval. Waiting for the people to come for the meeting because they come not on time. All the waiting time consider waste, non-value add activities to the company. That means the more diamond shape in your flowchart, there is a very high potential you waste a lot of time on waiting. Overproductions, you produce too much or too soon in excess of what you require. Produce a lot of things, keep a very high inventory. And then this will create other waste. For example, people moving around because of too many things, information not easily found. Transportations, moving of the goods from A to B, B to C. And then if you have a lot of inventory, you need to have a bigger storage space. And then you may need to build a bigger warehouse. And then you may need to pay the higher insurance premium. So all the costs are going to be increased if you overproduce your product or over-processing. A simple job, you need to have a 4 or 5 or 6 signatory. You need to have a 4 or 5 or 6 checking point, QC check. That may not be add value. You're doing more than what is required. It's doing more than what is required. That is not add value to the process control. In fact, it's a waste. Or defect, errors, quality issues. We're waiting time correction is increasing costs, increasing the lead time. Or extra process will be involved in sorting out the good and from the bad. You need additional labels and additional workforce. So quality issue is a waste from the lean thinking perspective, from the lean manufacturing perspective. For the ISO 9001 perspective, quality rejections means, it's a quality control issue. We need to control the non-conformity. But from the lean perspective, quality issue, defects, in fact, is a waste. It's a wasting of time, wasting of money, wasting of resources. Excessive inventory, this is what I mentioned just now. You require extra handling, storage, space, interest, charges, people, and paperwork. Transportation, just now, motion is a human being moving around. Transportation is movement of material from point A to point B. Unnecessary movement, overhandling of documentations or information. These are all considered waste. But the mother of all waste is a workplace injury. When your business process are too complicated, when your business process involves too many steps, too many checking, especially those non-value add steps, non-value add checking, it will indirectly increase the potential of workplace injury. And then this is the mother of all waste. This is the mother of all waste. Because we do not want our people to get injured during our process. This is what we do not want to see. So these are the ways that we should remove from our current management system. We need to know the value of our system. We need to know who are our customers. We need to make sure that our business process is smooth, is a smooth flow. We need to remove all the non-value add activities, the waste from our business process. So Mr. Singo said that the most dangerous kind of waste is the waste that we do not recognize. That is the most dangerous kinds of waste. That means we agree that it's okay, it's well accepted. This is what we have been doing so far for the last so many years. It's not a waste, it's the norm. It's very common in my company. Let people wait for the meeting, waiting for the approval, waiting for the suppliers, waiting for the raw material, waiting for the spare part. It's the normal. It's not a waste. Now that is the most dangerous kind of waste that we do not recognize. So principle number 4, we should let our customer pull the value from us. So the lean approach is not command and control. It's not from top down. The lean approach is from bottom up, workers' engagements. It's not pull from the top. It's not push from the top, sorry. It's pull from the shop floor. We want our workers to engage and then pull from you, QA managers, safety managers, environmental managers. Can they help us to improve? It's not like we design a procedure, we design a process, and then give it to the operator. Now it's your turn to implement the system. I will come back to audit next month. Then it's pushed from the top. It won't be successful. The successful system should be pulled from the employee. It's not command and control, it's employee engagement. So the customer can be both internal customer and external customer. Internal customer referring to the customer in in your company. Should be the primary source for the improvement ideas and initiative. So it's not that you hire managers, you hire a lean sensei or lean guru, and then you come up with all the improvement idea and ask the operators to implement. Lean principle, they do it the other way around. All the ideas should come from the shop floor people. Because process control is best done at the level with the most expertise. Who is the one with the most expertise? The operators, the shop floor people, because they are the first people closest to the work. They know the most about it, not us as the managers. It's the operators who work there every day, 6 or 7 days a week, 7 or 8 hours a day. So we should challenge the worker to contribute to the improvement process. No longer top down, push from the management team. It's bottom up. Let the employee engage and then give suggestions for improvement to the management team. The last principle, pursue perfections. In fact, it's very similar to one of the principles of ISO 9001. It's continual improvement. In Lean, they call it pursue perfection. No matter how good, always can be better. So the focus is shift from the managers and the HAC professional, making all the improvement decisions towards asking the workers for improvement ideas. Not top down, but bottom up. Right? So we have to turn away the idea that workers must be managed. In fact, culture is a key for improvement. Not the system, it's a culture. So I always say that the poor culture always eat the good system for breakfast. If you don't have a good culture, a good quality culture, the good organization culture, regardless how good your management system is, how comprehensive, how detailed, how many procedures you have, you can't produce a tangible results. So we switch from the worker-driven, worker-led process improvement, not managers-led, managers-driven. It's a worker-driven, worker-led improvement process. Switch the focus from the compliant to performance. It's not focusing on whether you comply to the requirement, comply to the ISO requirement, comply to the contractor requirement, comply to the customer requirement. The focus now is how can we improve? What is the point if you meet all the requirements that we cannot produce results? What is the point if we can show that we fill in all the forms and checklists, but we cannot deliver the result what my managers want? So the focus should be on the performance, not on the compliance. The focus should be on the processes, not on the procedure. The focus should be on the results, not the records. And that is when you implement, when you integrate Lean into the management systems. I've seen that we have received a lot of the questions. I think it's time if we can start to answer some of the questions.
Yes, we already have some very good questions actually. So you are now open for questions, yeah?
Yeah, I will go through the question from the chat room.
Okay, good. I think the first question coming from Eric Sabandar, Mr. Frederick Eric. So the question is how we implement Lean concept in unsupported working culture, because you mentioned culture is a very important factor in the Lean implementation. So how we can implement Lean if the culture is not supporting. In this case, he give a example of top management didn't see the benefit from lean.
Yes, Eric, this is a very good question. In fact, this is a very common problem most of organizations are facing right now. Why the senior management not really supportive in terms of the implementing lean improvement activities? One of the reasons is they don't know. And then the even more critical problem is they do not know what they do not know. They thought they know, but in fact they don't know.
Or
So
they
when we
think
talk
they
to,
know.
or they think they know, but in fact they do not know what they do not know. Yeah, this is a challenge as a middle management. As a middle management, sometimes we have to sell the whole idea to the senior management team. We need to sell it to them. But at the same time, we don't forget they are my boss. I think the best way is that sometimes we need to educate our senior management team. That, for example, invite them to these free webinars, or when you have a good article, you can send forward the article to them. We need to educate our management team. Because if the top management doesn't want to change, or they do not know how to change, or they think that they are very good now, it's very hard for us. All the change come from the senior management team. The senior management team have to buy in the whole idea first. Right? It's not a quick. There's no quick fix. There is no a simple answer to your questions, because different organizations, they have a different culture. Some senior management team may be willing to listen to your suggestions. Some is very authoritative. You just do whatever I tell you. Don't challenge me. I'm the boss. You are not the boss. So this may be a problem not only for your organizations, but for many organizations. Because of a senior management team, maybe the last time they attended training is about 20 years ago. They're still living in the 1980s, 1990s. Is what they have learned. Still living in the TQM generations. Right?
Yeah.
Good. So
sorry, and I think it's important from the perspective of middle management to know what you're talking about. So you don't come to your senior manager and try to convince the importance of management system, but you have no idea what it means as well, you know. So it's really important for you to influence them, that you know what the expectation, you know, the result, and you will be able to take initiative to guide the implementation. I think that will be useful. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Another question is on the which one comes first, make a good system or a good team? I tell you, a good team comes first. 3P. People come first. You can have a very good system, but if you don't have engaged and competent people, you cannot see the results. That's the reason why for some of the company, maybe your supplier or customer, they can show you the quality manual, 400 pages. They can show you all their procedures, but there's still a lot of non-conformities. So people. But once you have a good people, you may start to think about how to develop a good process. When you have a good people plus good processes, and then the result will be performance. Right? People, process, performance. But always start with people first. Okay, the next question is on how do we know whether our organization is already lean or implementing lean system? Can you share with us the indicator? They have a lean assessment. In fact, they call it a lean diagnostic. It's just like for the ISO 9000, we call it as a gap analysis. There's an audit, on-site audit. They walk through all the lean criteria, and then they can give you an overview of the mapping, whether you're at which stage, whether your company lean or not lean enough, or which areas should be for focus for improvements. Right? And then the last one is on How do we measure that our existing value is the right environment to embrace lean system? How to change behavior of wasting to performance? Measure existing value is the right environment to embrace the lean system. I think whether you are ready or not to embrace the lean system is the needs. It's the needs. Do you angry and feel frustrated with the waste that you generated? Is your management team or the manager feel very frustrated and angry that why we have to wait and wait and wait? Why the same problem keep on happening again and again and again? Why the same customer complain on the same thing keep on repeating? Why we need to produce so many products but not able to sell? That frustration, when you see that as a problem, instead of see them as a norm, as a common, that means you're ready for the lean system. Lean have to start from needs. That means they see the needs to do some changes. They are so frustrated that they want to do something. If they are happy with currently what they have achieved, if they see that whatever is happening now is very common from my last 20 years of manufacturing experience, this is common. We do it every day for the last 20 years. If your senior management team have this kind of thinking, that means it's not the right timing yet, or they do not have the concept of lean. They do not have the lean thinking yet. So that means it's not the right time to embrace lean. Or you can do it the other way around. Maybe this is the best time for them to embrace lean. But we need to educate them, because they do not know that in fact these are wastes. Waste consume all your resources, time and money, and then at the same time you cannot achieve the result that you want. You can see your cost increasing, you can increase the headcount, but you cannot produce the results. This is a problem. All right, I think I've answered all the questions in the chat room.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Actually, there's another question coming to me in private. If you are you going to continue with the next slide, or
I can answer this question first.
Okay. So one of the ways that you identify is the offer processing, right? But how offer processing can be seen as a waste, as it's actually the expectation is to give a better customer satisfaction. Because I think the question is if we give more, it makes the customer happier. So why that can be indicated as waste? I think that would be the simple question.
You're talking about over processing, right?
Yes, correct.
Over processing means that you process more than what the customer wants. Customer not willing to pay for that. You process more. For example, if you log on to this Zoom webinar, you need to register and then submit fill the form, send it to Adi vet it, agree, approve, send you back an email, give you the password, and then when you log in, you need to have a security code again. This is over processing. And then the customer feel very frustrated. It's just a simple webinar. Why I have to go through so many steps, so many checkpoints? So, or in the government terms, or in some organization, they call it's a bureaucracy. Right? They call it, this organization is very bureaucratic. Why? Because they have to go through, over-process simple things, which is not add values to the customer. The customer feel frustrated. Just give me the password, give me the link. I will log on and join the Zoom meeting or Zoom the webinar. So in fact, over-processing sometimes cause customer unsatisfactions. Customer feel angry with that, especially for those service organizations. If you are in banking industry, if you are in the retails, insurance organizations, what the customer wants is a simple and straightforward process. You don't want to ask me to fill in 5 forms and then go into 5 different departments just to get one approval. It's not customer friendly, right? But this is a very good question. Sometimes we thought that the more we do, the customer will be more happy. Not necessary. Sometimes the more we do, use up all our resources, but turn out the customer not happy. So we have to balance between the risk and process control. Make sure the process is under control, not over control. When we over control, it will consume all our resources. All right, let us move on to the last part of these presentations, and then we will call it a day. Some of the lean tools and lean technique, the recommendations. Some of the idea I can share with you. So these are a lot of lean tools have been recommended by the lean guru. All right, but lean tool can be very helpful. It is the lean thinking that has the greatest potential to begin a significant change in the management system performance. Not the using the tools, but how you think, that's important. The thinking is the first thing that you need to change. The problem now you're facing when you deal with the senior management team, because the thinking is not changed. When the thinking is not changed, all these tools becomes useless for them. These are all the tools. You can go to Google and search how they use these tools. Now all these informations are publicly available. But when we match the tools with the ISO, for example, ISO 9001 quality system, you will notice that some of the requirements, in fact, you can comply and meeting the requirement while implementing the lean principle and tools. Different tools, different lean principle, in fact, can help you to meet the ISO requirements. Throughout the whole clause 4, 5, 6, 7. For example, competency, you can implement a training within industry. And then for infrastructure, you have a TPM. And awareness, you have a Sachi and visual management. These are all the lean tools that can help you to comply to the ISO requirements. Especially for 8.5.1, the production control or the manufacturing process control. There are so many tools that you can use. One-piece flow, Pokayoke, Kanban, visual control, SMED. These are the lean tools that can be used to improve your production process control. Even for analysis and improvement, you have a Honshin Kanri, non-conformity process, the corrective action. You have an A3 report, or for continuous improvement, you have a Kaizen and events. So these are the integrations within the ISO standard, the requirements, and with the lean tools and practices. Instead of come up with the own way how to meet the ISO requirement, why not you use the proven lean principle and lean tools? It's already proven method, have been used by Toyota for the last 60 years. Use that tools to help to meet the ISO requirements, so that you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. At the same time, you can comply to the ISO requirement and get the certificate, and then meet your management and customer requirements. But on the other hand, you can minimize the waste, add values to the system, add values to the management team, to your employee. This is 2-in-1 integrated system that can achieve both objectives. So as conclusion, all meaningful change begins with thinking differently. If you don't change your thinking, you won't change the results. If you still think that quality system or management system need a lot of documentation, a lot of records, a lot of procedures, a lot of checklists, if you don't change your thinking, you can't change the way you're doing things, and then you can't see the new results. So you have to decide who is your customer is. What is your customer value? If you are the quality manager, you are the one who designed the quality system, who are your customers? All your employees are your customers. If you are the safety managers, you design a safety management system, who are your customers? Everyone in the company is your customer. But what do they value? Do they value a lot of documentations? Or your employee values a lot of checklists, a lot of signatory? No. So we need to examine, review our existing system norms and theory that drive them. If not add value, remove them. Can we do it in a simpler way, easier way? At the same time, make sure the process under control. That means we need to design the management system like a product. Like a good product, right? We need to sell it to the workers, sell it to the employees. Can meet their wants and their needs. It's not to design a management system to meet the certification bodies, auditors' requirement to get a certificate. Should not be our intention. Our intention is to design a system to meet our customer requirement. Who is our customer? The employees, not the certification body auditors. I see that there is some few questions coming in.
Yeah, we're opening a questions. If you want to you want to ask a question live in the session, I'm opening the opportunity. If you can ask directly to Jessen.
Yeah, or you can write your questions in. Yeah, up to you.
Yeah. Anyone?
Yeah, hello. Yeah, hi. My name is Suresh, and I'm also calling from Australia, from Perth. Just was wanting to touch base, Adib, and yes, and I think good presentation. Thanks for that. So, with respect to the previous question, there was a point raised on performance improvement. So, with the present COVID-19 and the oil price going down, it is really important that the performance improvement gains a lot of focus, and hence lean and Six Sigma and improving performance becomes critical. So accordingly, the previous question by one of the team was about how do we convince the management. So when you look at the initial points which Jessen highlighted on financial improvement, customer satisfaction, innovation, so we have to take those examples of how we can improve those specific elements and then take it to the management and explain them that yes, financially, these are the problems and how can we do a resolution? Or in terms of customer satisfaction, okay, these many products have an issue. How do we rectify it in process of applying lean or applying a Six Sigma practice? So that is the way we can convince the higher management rather than education. Yes, education is one of the components, but doing it practically on those 5 critical elements, that is financial performance, customer satisfaction, innovation, productivity, sales. So how do we do that? And that is what I think maybe an answer to one of the colleagues who asked the question.
All right, thank you, Suresh.
Thanks, Suresh. I think it's a really good input because what interests the most of the management is the financial aspect. I mean, if you can actually show them the benefit financially, it will immediately attract their attention.
Sure. So another thing, Jessen, was, I think you brought a wonderful point here on lean. So when you look at those, yes, from a quality management system perspective, from the customer focus and the value, yes, in terms of transportation, they can bring a lot of changes. But there is these 5 key outputs, the objectives that a company want, which is financial performance, customer satisfaction, innovation, productivity, increasing sales, and they want to see the business in long term. So when you look at those 5 or 6 elements, how do we get the maximum out of that? Then there's a process where we can bring in data, right? What are the 4 financial issues? What are the customer satisfaction issues? What are the innovation ideas that the workers have? What are the productivity aspects the workers can bring in? So then we can group this and then make it a data, and then you can see at how we can resolve these issues in addition to lean. So that's something I was thinking from Six Sigma perspective. You collected data, you define the problem statement, define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. And that way, on one side, you can close in on resolving those 5 or 6 key points in terms of financial performance, and then apply parallelly lean at the ground level. So that way, the 2 links in very well with the system, and it benefits the higher management, is what I feel. So what are your thoughts on that? Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Suresh. I think the key point here is that we need to, people only change when there is a need to change. Right? In general, people won't change when there's the need to change. And then normally people will hate change when they are asked to change. People like to change by themselves. They do not like to be asked to change. Same thing, if you talk to your management team and then you ask them to change, their first reaction is that no, this is a human nature. But if you can show them, present them the needs to change, that is a problem that we need to solve. Especially you can link the needs to the financial results, quantify the needs, measure the needs in dollar and cents. We use their language to talk to them. Don't use our language. Our language, we talk about non-conformity, requirements, lean philosophy, lean practices, but our management, they don't use that language. What they talk is about margin, profit, bottom line, cost. What is my return on investment? Can you measure it? If I implement this, what is my return on investment? How long it takes? So we need to talk using their language. They call it as a boardroom language. Using their language, this will be easier for us to communicate with them. All right. Thank you. I think it's about time. I will pass the whole the presentation back to Adi.
Okay, thank you, Jessen. Unfortunately, Jessen, 1 hour feel like really quick. You know, I think we have a lot of comments and still question coming in. But hopefully in the future you will have more time to actually bring us into a more in-depth discussion on the lean. So it's a fantastic presentation. Thank you, Jessen. Just very quickly to summary what we talked for the past 1 hour. So we talk about the benefits of a management system, which unfortunately for many organizations is just a way to actually getting business, where actually we can, the company or the organization can get so much more benefit of implementing the management system. And I'm really interested with your metrics of compliance and performance. I think that's really interesting. That you categorize the organization into 4 different categories, which is OPEX, the burden, unsustainable, and out of business. And I had a chance to actually ask a question in the group in which organization you or you think your organization located are. And there's a lot of inputs coming in privately. It's interesting because I cannot blame them. It's kind of embarrassing in some aspect probably. A lot of people actually put themselves in the position of burden. So they think that with so many management systems being implemented in the organization, it feels like a burden without really showing them the actual performance. This is quite interesting to know that. Very few people actually saying that they're in the OPEX, but most of them are putting themselves in the burden quadrant, which is very interesting. And then we also talk, Jessen also shared us the 5 Lean principles, and also some very nice quotes from Taichi Ono and Jessen Yeoh. I remember very correctly. It's the no problem means the biggest problem. I think very interesting. A lot of people think, well, we're okay, no problem whatsoever, but actually they're dealing with a very big problem in the organization. Okay, and the most dangerous waste is the waste that we don't recognize. I think that's a very good things to remind us about the importance of not having what we call the factory blindness. I think something that we see over and over again become a normal, and we don't see that as a waste. So it's very important to develop the Muda glasses, I think, where you can actually identify and spot problems and waste in the organization. The 5 Lean principles bring us to a very basic principles in implementing Lean. So like value stream and making value flow without any interruption, reducing waste, and pursue perfection. I think that's the principles that we need to understand about with Lean. And of course, the tools that's very important to take us in a very structured and methodological manners in implementing Lean. I've seen a lot of organizations try to implement Lean, but they don't really understand on how to do it in a very structured manner. And what makes frustrated in the software level is they just don't know what they need to do, you know. So having a tools is actually helping us to getting the objective that we would like to get. Right. So I hope I have covered conclude the discussion today. Thanks also for all the questions coming in from participants. From also Suresh, I think you give a very good insight and inputs on the discussion. Thanks again. And we will follow up this discussion. There will be a recording available for you that we will share on our follow-up emails. And I think there's a question as well if they can get the PowerPoint, the slides. Is that possible, Jessen, for them to get the slides? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So Jessen will share that slides to me, and we will share it to you by email. I know it's probably an over processing, like Jessen mentioned, but we also would like to make sure that the confidentiality and you know, like the link that we have to go through that registering process is just to avoid some of the problem that we're having at the moment. We try our best to actually simplify the process, so you will feel that you don't have to go through the unnecessary painful process that you went through. Okay, right. And just a quick reminder, if you have any more questions, just feel free to contact Jessen at Jessen LinkedIn account. He will be more than happy to respond. He's very active in LinkedIn, so please feel free to contact him directly on LinkedIn. Right, and don't forget to attend our next masterclass series. Yeah, looking forward on next week's session. So once again, thanks, Jessen, and I think everybody, we can give Jessen a big round of applause for his presentation. Well done, thank you. And yeah, and keep safe, everybody. Have a good weekend, and I'll see you on next week. Thank you. Bye, Jessen. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jessen.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jessen.
Thank you, Pak Adi.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you, Pak Adi.
Thank you.